You're watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. Here's what's coming up this hour. Get more information, special announcements, and weekly program schedules online at wishtv.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, this is Stephanie Woods, reading interventionist. We'll go ahead and get started with our phonics lesson for the day. So first thing we're going to do is some rhyme recognition. I'm going to read 3 words, and out of those 3, 1 word is not going to rhyme, and I want you to be able to tell me which word doesn't rhyme. So if I say sneak, glance, prance, which word doesn't rhyme? Sneak, that first word I said. If I say trick, stick, press, which word doesn't rhyme? Press, the one at the end. If I say slow, class, grow, which word doesn't rhyme? Class, that second word I said. Let's do 2 more. If I say graph, trust, crust, which word doesn't rhyme? Graph, that first word. Last one, if I say crack, snack, fruit, which word doesn't rhyme? Fruit, that last word. Very good. All right, next activity we're going to do is looking at that first sound. So I'm going to give you 2 words. Listen to the first sound of both of those words and tell me what that first sound is. So if I say grip, globe, what's that first sound? I hear g, G. If I say press, plant, what's that first sound we hear? I hear that p, P sound. If I say crown, clown, what's that first sound we hear at the beginning of those 2 words? I hear k, C. If I say splash, skill, what's the first sound at the beginning of those 2 words? I hear that S sound. Last one, if I say flame, frost, what's that first sound we hear? I hear that F sound. All right, next activity we're going to do is some blending. I will give you those sounds. I want you to listen and put those together to make that word. So for example, if I say p, o, e, n, t, what's my word? Plant. Very good. If I say ch, u, z, what's my word? Choose. If I say p, o, a, s, what's my word? Place. If I say k, I, s, p, what's my word? Crisp. See if you can do it faster than me now. If I say sh, I, p, what's that word? Shrimp. Let's do 3 more. If I say f, u, a, E, what's my word? Floppy. 2 more. If I say ch, n, s, what's my word? Chance. Last one. S, o, e, p, t. What's my word? Slept. Very good. All right. Now what we're going to do is something a little different. We're going to say a word, and then I'm going to ask you where you hear the ST blend in the word. Might be at the beginning, might be in the middle, might be at the end, okay? So we're looking for that ST in the word. So if I say the word faster, where do I hear the ST in faster? I hear it in that middle, faster, okay? If I say sticker, where do you hear the ST blend? I hear it at the beginning. Let's do 3 more of these. I want you to say the word toast. Now, where do you hear that ST in toast? I hear it at the very end, okay? Next one, say wrist. Where do you hear the ST blend in the word wrist? I hear it again all the way at the end, okay? Last one we're gonna do, say sister. Where do you hear this ST blend in sister? I hear it right there in the middle. Good job, that's a trickier one. All right, now we're gonna go backwards. Instead of blending, we're gonna segment and take it apart. So I say the word, you say the word, and then I want you to break it down into the sounds. So if we say flute, let's go ahead and break down that word. F-O-U-T. Very good. Say the word grapes. Break it down. G-R-A-P-S. Good. Say the word food. Break it down. F-U-D. Very good. Next one. Say the word stamp. Break it down. S-T-A-M-P. Good job. We got 4 more. Say the word shrink. Break it down. Sh-R-E-N-K. Good. These are some long words, a lot of blends in them. Say the word clasp. Break it down. K-O-A-S-P. Great job. 2 more. Say the word slump. Break it down. S-O-A-M-P. Good job. And that last one, say flash. Break it down. F-O-A-S-H. Great job. Now what we're going to do, still working on blends, we'll say a word. We're going to add a beginning sound to it to make a new word, okay? So say lane, add P at the beginning, and the word is plane. See what we're doing there? Say rack, add K at the beginning, and the word is crack. Say rise, add P at the beginning, and the word is prize. See if you can do it faster than me. Say platter, add S at the beginning, and the word is splatter. Say rib, add K at the beginning, and the word is crib. We got 2 more. Say rink, add B at the beginning, and the word is brink. Good job. Last one, say mile, add S at the beginning, and the word is smile. Good. Now we're going to go opposite. We're going to delete that first sound and take it away, okay? So say blink, take away the B, and you're left with link. Very good. Say sleep, take away S, and you're left with leap. Good. See if you can do these faster than me. Say glance, take away the G, and you're left with lance. Awesome. Say star, take away S, and you're left with tar. Say groom, take away G, and you're left with room. Say scream. Take away s, and you're left with cream. Last one. Say strap. Take away this, and you're left with trap. Good job. All right, last one we have for the day is changing. So we added, we deleted, we changed now. So say the word bus. We're switching it up. Take away us, put up un. The word is bun. So notice we're changing the rhyme now, the ending of it. Say bun. Take away un, put up ud. The word is bud. Say bud. Take away ud, put up ed. What's my new word? Bed. Couple more. Say bed. Take away ed, put up add. The word is bad. Last one. Say bad. Take away add, put up et. The word is bet. A little bit trickier that way. That's all I have for you. Have a wonderful day. See you later.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi, I'm Miss Howenstein, and today we are going to be reading the book Say Something by Peter H. Reynolds. Okay, so we're going to read this book, and I want you to think about it while you're listening to the words. The world needs your voice. Mine? Yes, yours. Go ahead. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as it is from your heart. You don't have to be loud. Powerful words can be a whisper. You can say something in so many ways, with words, with action, with creativity. If you see someone lonely, say something by just being there for them. You can go sit by them. If they're sitting down by themselves, you can go sit by them and make them feel like they are not alone. If you see an empty canvas, say something with your brush. If you see an empty lot, say something by planting a seed and watching it bloom. If you see someone being hurt, say something by being brave. Hey, stop. If you see something beautiful, say something with a poem. If you have a brilliant idea, say something with confidence. Eureka! If you want to show the world who you are, say something with style. Ta-da! If you are angry, say something to help people understand. You made me feel invisible. That really hurt. I'm really sorry. If you see an injustice, say something peacefully. No more hurting people. Peace. Inspire others to do the same. Sometimes you'll say something and no one will be listening. But keep saying what is in your heart, and you will find someone who listens. Keep saying it, and you may be surprised to find the whole world listening. If you are grateful for being alive, quietly say something to the stars, to the universe. Some people find it easier to say something than others. I hope, I believe, join us. I wish, together we can. I'm ready to change the world, I imagine. But everyone has something to say. So when you're ready, say something. This is a quote. It says, "Your voice can inspire, heal, and transform. Your voice can change the world. Are you ready to say something?" And that's by Peter Hamilton Reynolds, the author. Thank you so much for reading with me and listening. And don't be afraid to say something. It's so important. And if you feel like you should say something, go right ahead and say it.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi kids, I'm Pat Boylan. I'm a broadcaster for the Indiana Pacers. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Today we're going to read this book. It's called How to Be a Lion, and it's by Ed Veer. Some say there's only one way to be a lion, they say. Lions are fierce. If they catch you, they will chomp you. Crunch, crunch, chomp. They say a lion can't be gentle. Well, they haven't met Leonard. Leonard loves to walk by himself, feeling the sun warm his back and the grass under his paws. Some days, Leonard walks to his thinking hill. Sometimes he thinks important thoughts. Sometimes he daydreams. Somewhere in between, he hums quietly and plays with words, putting them together this way, then that way, making them into poems. Some say, wait, lions are not gentle. Lions do not write poems. And if a lion met a duck, bad luck for that duck. Crunch, crunch, chomp. But if Leonard met a duck, what do you think would happen? Hello, said Leonard. I'm Leonard. Hello, said the duck. I'm Mary Ann. I'm writing a poem, said Leonard, but I'm stuck. Will you help me? You're in luck, said Mary Ann. I'm a poetic duck. Together they played with Leonard's poem until the words came unstuck. Leonard and Mary Ann found they liked each other. Under the sun in the long grass they lay together. They played. They went for walks and had long meandering conversations, a mixture of quacks and quiet roars. At night they watched for shooting stars and made wishes if they saw them. Do you think the universe has edges, quacked Mary Ann? If it doesn't, said Leonard, will we fall out? Together they are happy. They wish for nothing more than this. But one day, a pack of fierce lions came prowling around. What's going on here, they growled. Why hasn't this duck been chomped? This duck is Mary Ann, said Leonard. She's my friend, and nobody will chomp her. The fierce lions came closer. We heard you're gentle. We heard you make up poems, but not chomping a duck. Well, you've gone too far. The fierce lions growled and they roared. There's only one way to be a lion. Leonard, you must be fierce. You can see the duck here hiding his eyes, not wanting to see what these fierce lions have to say. Maybe a little bit scared. Must I be fierce, said Leonard. Must I change? "They're wrong," quacked Mary Ann, "and we will show them why." Leonard and Mary Ann went to their thinking hill. They thought hard. After a while, Leonard hummed a serious hum, and an idea started to form. Mary Ann quacked a serious quack. The idea grew. They put their words together, like this, like that, building them into a poem that made sense of what they thought. Finally, they were ready. Leonard took a deep breath. "I'll say this quietly, I needn't roar to be heard. I can be a friend to a bee or a bird. You said I must change, I must chomp Mary Ann, but chomping your friends is a terrible plan. Let nobody say just one way is true. There are so many ways that you can be you. If there must be a must, then this we must try. Why don't you be you, and I will be I?" "Some say words can't change the world," Leonard says. "If they make you think, then maybe they can." Is there just one way to be a lion? I don't think so. Do you? And that's the end of the book. And in the back it says, "This book is for those who daydream and for those who think for themselves." And I think it's a great message not only about the power of words and how you can persuade people, but also the importance of individuality, to be you even at your young age. I hope everyone's staying fun, hope everyone's staying safe, doing well with your e-learning, and we look forward to reading to you back in person, hopefully someday soon. Stay safe.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi, I'm Miss Howenstein, and today we are going to be reading the book, All Are Welcome. So think, what does it mean when you hear the words, all are welcome? Well, we're going to find out. So I want you to think what it means to you as we read along. This is by Alexandra Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. Take a look at these pictures on the inside and see the city streets, see the different people that are in here. Think what it means, all are welcome. All right, pencils sharpened in their case, bells are ringing, let's make haste. School's beginning, dreams to chase, all are welcome here. So this is a school like maybe you've been in. And right now I know we're not in school, but here's a school, a classroom. And there's so many different people. No matter how you start your day, what you wear when you play, or if you come from far away, all are welcome here. Look at these kids. They all come from different places around the world, different countries. That is so awesome. All are welcome here. In this classroom, all are welcome. In our classroom, safe and sound, fears are lost and hope is found. Raise your hand, we'll go around. All are welcome here. Gather now, let's all take part. We'll play music, we'll make art. We'll share stories from the heart. There's the teacher, might look familiar to you, and students like you sitting on the carpet. All are welcome here. Time for lunch, what a spread, a dozen different kinds of bread. Pass it around till everyone's fed. All are welcome here. See, when we see all the different kinds of bread, we know that there's so many different countries and places and different types of people represented. Open doors, rush outside. We will sing, we will slide. We'll have fun side by side. All are welcome here. We are part of a community. Our strength is our diversity, a shelter from adversity. All are welcome here. We will learn from each other, special talents we'll uncover. There's a big world to discover. All are welcome here. So much to learn, so much to do. And when the busy day is through, can't wait to come back, start anew. All are welcome here. Head for home to get some rest and greet tomorrow ready and fresh. Our time together is the best. All are welcome here. You have a place here. You are welcome here. There's so many different people, so many things, so many activities, sports, festivals, cultures. Okay, friends, so after we read All Are Welcome, I want you to think what it means, all are welcome. From the story, what you read, or what you think when you see this story. Maybe you see yourself in this story. And although we are not in class, in a classroom right now, in a building at your school, you may be online on Zoom, or you may be watching your teacher on some recorded lessons, or even on TV you might be watching your teacher. And so you can think that you are welcome here, and that no matter where you come from, what language you speak, what food you eat, the color of your skin, you are welcome here. So I want you to take a second and think, and maybe draw a picture of what you read, of what you listened to, and what it means to you. Thank you so much for following along, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Look around. Listen. We're moving to a new beat. A colorful symphony, each note made more beautiful by the next. We are driven by talent in the classroom, in each school, that recognizes the potential in every student and knows the opportunity to achieve is not an option, it's expected. We are not alone. We stand among giants, eager to help, eager to give back and build bonds to last generations. We are part of a city fueled by grit, strength, and determination. Racing toward a future full of potential, where hard work really does pay off. When one succeeds, we all succeed. We're innovative, we're industrious, we're imaginative. We are your Indianapolis Public Schools, and we're stronger together.
Hi, I'm Alicia Johnson. Unfortunately, many families don't have access to the educational resources available online, and the digital divide has become more apparent as thousands of students are now learning from home. Thanks to our partnership with Circle City Broadcasting, IPS students and families have access to daily educational instruction. Join IPS teachers weekdays from 8 to 10 a.m. on MyINDY-TV. For the schedule, visit wishtv.com/IPS.
I think I need to call in sick.
Why? What's wrong?
My throat is sore, dizzy, runny nose.
It sounds like nasopharyngitis.
More than a dozen surprisingly specialized education models to choose from. Explore them all online. Yeah, that's IPS.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning. This is Stephanie Woods, reading interventionist, and we'll go ahead and get started with our phonics lesson for the day. So we're going to do some rhyme. I'm going to give you the word, and then I'll give you two other words, and I want you to figure out which of those two rhyme with that first word I said. So which word rhymes with heart? Start, her. Start does, that's right. Which word rhymes with corn? Torn, coarse. Torn, that's right. Which word rhymes with first? Fist, worst. Worst does, that's right. Two more. Which word rhymes with car? Star, can. Star does. Last one. Which word rhymes with verse? Van, nurse. Nurse does. Very good. All right, I'm going to give you the word, and I want you to tell me what that first sound is you hear at the beginning. So say leader. It's that first sound you hear in the word leader. I hear that L sound. Say the word certain. What's that first sound you hear in the word certain? I hear the S, soft C sound. Say birthday. What's that first sound we hear in birthday? I hear that B sound. Say normal. What's the first sound you hear in the word normal? I hear the N sound. Last one, say the word disturb. What's the first sound we hear in the word disturb? I hear that D sound. Very good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the blending portion. So I will say the sounds and then you tell me what word I've created. Ready? N or th. What's my word? North. Very good. We're going to hear a lot of R-controlled vowels in here. Next one. B-ord. What's my word? Board. Next word. K-er-v. What's my word? Curve. Keep going. See if you can do it faster than me. Next word. K-l-er-k. What's my word? Clerk. Next word. W-er-st. What's my word? Worst. Keep going. B-r-n. What's my word? Barn. Two more. Sh-or-t. What's that word? Short. Last one. B-r-j. What's my word? Barge. Very good. All right, now we're going to focus on the ending sound. So what I'm going to do is I have 3 words to give you. 2 of those words have the same ending sound to them. So if I say park, hurt, smart, which 2 have the same ending sound? Hurt, smart. I hear the T at the very end of those 2. Next 3, search, march, yard. Which 2 have the same ending sound? Search, march. I hear that ch digraph in there. Next one, if I say nerve, check, carve, which 2 have the same ending sound? Nerve, carve. I hear V at the very end of those 2. Let's do 2 more. Yarn, stare, turn. Which 2 have the same ending sound? Yarn, turn. I hear that N sound at the end. Last one, firm, spark, perk. Which two have the same ending sound? Spark, perk. I hear that K at the end. A little tricky on that one. All right, we've done some blending. Now we're gonna segment. So I say the word, you say the word, then we gotta break it down into its sounds. Again, we're gonna hear a lot of R control vowels in here. So say the word scarf. Let's go ahead and break it down. S, k, R, f. Very good. Say turtle. Break it down. T, t, ul. Very good. Say the word charm. Break it down. Ch, r, m. Say the word spurt. Break it down. S, p, t. Very good. See if you can start doing these faster than me. Say the word verse. Break it down. V, s. Good job. Say torch. Break it down. T, or ch. Good. Say dirt. Break it down. D, t. Good job. Get two more. Say the word harm. Break it down. H, r, m. Last one. Say teacher. Break it down. T, e, ch, Good job. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a word here at the beginning. Now we're adding on to something at the end to make a new word. So say the word for, add s at the end, and the word is force. Okay? Say shy, add n at the end, and the word is shine. These are trickier. Say let, add at the end, and my word is letter. Good job. Say play, add t at the end, and the word is plate. Say chair, add e at the end, and the word is cherry. Two more. Say scent, add at the end, and the word is center. Last one. Say when, add t at the end, and the word is went. Good job. A little tricky on that. Now we're going to go backwards. So we'll have that word, and then we take away the last sound we've heard and figure out what we have left. So say the word self, take away f, and you're left with sell. Say start, take away the t, and you're left with star. Say tooth, take away the f, and you're left with do. Say tent, take away the t, and you're left with 10. Let's do a few more. Say farm, take away and you're left with far. Say plane, take away and you're left with play. Say beach, take away ch, and you're left with be. Last one, say chili, take away e, and you're left with chill. Very much harder to do it at the end than it is at the beginning. All right, last thing we're gonna do, substituting out the last sound now. So say the word seat. Take away t, put up the word is seed. I'll kind of help with this one a little bit more. Say pain, take away n, put up ul, the word is pale. Changes a little bit with that L there. Say beep. Take away p. Put up the word is beam. Say like. Take away k. Put up v. The word is live. Last one, say meet. Take away t. Put up n. The word is mean. Good job on this today. We'll do a little bit more next week. Have a wonderful day.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Boys and girls, my name is Mrs. Kelly and I am from Center for Inquiry School 70. This is my friend Rufus.
Hey everybody.
And we are here to go over the home learning packet 2.0 reading section 2 lesson 1. We're going to be reading a story called The Strangest Nest, and that starts in your packet on page 58. Today, Rufus and I are going to be going over how to retell a story, really focusing on important events and those key details. So right here I have a poster that kind of talks to us about how to retell a story. That gives you something you can use that you have always with you, your hand, right, Rufus? You have your hand with you?
Yeah.
And you can use your hand to help you retell a story. The characters can be remembered by your thumb, the setting, and then the beginning, middle, and end. Today we're going to focus on the beginning, middle, and end, describing those important events and the key details that go with them. Here's a little poster that kind of can help you to think about what important events are and key details. So here I have an event. An event is something that happens in the story. And then each event has key details. Those are things that describe the events and they tell you more. So this is sort of a way that you can look at it. You start with the beginning. If you're retelling, you might use words like first. Then you talk about the important events and then some key details. Next, you'll talk about the middle, and you might use words like next or then or after that when you're retelling that. Again, talking about the important events, usually that's where the problem of the story happens. Then they have key details. And then you're going to talk about the end of the story. You might use words like finally or last. Usually that's when the solution to the problem happens and those important events, and then you describe those key details. Okay, so Rufus, we're going to read a story today, and it's called The Strangest Nest. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is called The Strangest Nest. Here's a picture of the cover. Notice the cover, Rufus?
Oh yeah.
What do you think's going to happen in this story? What do you think it's about?
He's going to ride a bike.
I bet he's going to ride a bike. He's got one right there. All right, so we'll read, and while I'm reading, you try to think about those important events and those key details.
Okay.
Okay, so it starts this way. Lewis rides his bike to the mailbox in less than 1 minute. He goes around the block in 5 minutes. Lewis wants to ride even faster. But today, Lewis found a pigeon in his basket. "What are you doing? Shoo, go away," he said. The pigeon only blinked at him. Could you imagine, Rufus, finding a pigeon in your basket?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever chase birds?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Here we go. "I guess you're not moving," said Lewis. The pigeon stood up. Under it, Lewis saw a nest. 2 pigeon hatchlings were in it. Hatchlings, Rufus, what do you think those are?
Baby birds.
Those are baby birds. "A family. That's too many birds for a bike," said Lewis. He tried to take the basket off, but the pigeons didn't like that. They made a lot of noise. Let's keep reading and see what happens. Lewis asked his mom, "How long are those pigeons going to stay?" "Maybe a few weeks," Mom said. "The little hatchlings need to be ready to fly." "Ugh," said Lewis. "Can they ride with me?" "Oh no," Mom laughed. "You ride too fast." "Okay, I'll wait for them to leave," said Lewis. Lewis visited the pigeon family all the time. "Can't you hurry?" he asked. "I've got to get moving again." The birds just blinked. He's being pretty impatient, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Lewis watched the pigeons bring food to the nest. The babies tilted their heads back and opened their beaks. They gobbled food so fast. "That's cute," said Lewis. He smiled a little. One day, Lewis saw the pigeons stand on the basket. "Look, Mom," he called, "the little birds are trying to fly." Lewis wanted to help. He cheered for the babies. "You can do it," he said. The baby pigeons flapped their wings, but they didn't let go of the basket. "Keep practicing," said Lewis. "That's what I had to do when I learned to ride my bike." The pigeons wobbled and flapped again. Then they jumped and flew down to the grass. "You can fly," Lewis cheered. The birds were out of the nest. Lewis is super happy. Now Lewis is ready to ride again. He rode his bike faster than ever. He got to his mailbox in 25 seconds. He made it around the block in 4 minutes, 1 minute less than before. And whenever he saw the pigeons flying, he called out, "Let's race." All right, what'd you think, Rufus?
I like it.
I did too. So now let's think about the important events of that story. So we're starting off with the beginning. So I have a little poster here so that we can talk about the beginning. Do you remember what an important event was at the beginning of the story?
Lewis wants to ride his bike to beat his record.
He sure does. Lewis wants to ride his bike to beat his record. And what else happened at the beginning, Rufus?
He finds a pigeon in his bike basket.
He sure did, and he can't ride with that. So you notice I wrote the important events. Lewis wants to ride his bike and beat his record, but he found pigeons in his bike basket. Now those key details, the things that talk about those events, do you remember any of those key details?
He wants to beat his record from home to the mailbox and around the block.
He sure does, and that means he has to go fast. Those are very important things to know because he can't go very fast with those pigeons in his basket. But he does notice the pigeon and her babies in his basket. All right, then for the second part, the middle of the story, do you remember the key details there? What was super important in the middle of the story?
Babies can't be moved.
The babies can't be moved. He tried to move them, but they made a lot of noise and they didn't want to be moved. So the babies can't be moved, and then Lewis can't ride his bike, right?
Right.
He can't. So some of those important details, do you remember any of those, Rufus?
He doesn't want to hurt the babies.
He sure doesn't want to hurt the babies, so he has to wait. So I wrote down key details. Lewis has to wait for the babies to learn to fly. He can't ride with the babies because he rides way too fast. And he watches them grow, and at first, do you think he liked the pigeons at first?
No.
I don't think so either. I think he kind of was annoyed at them, like they're taking up his time, he couldn't ride his bike. But then after a little while, once he started watching them, he realized they're pretty cute. Yep. Yeah, and then I think he actually had a smile at one point when they were eating. Now that brings us to the end of the story. Do you remember the end of the story and what happened at the end?
The birds grow.
They do grow. The birds grow, and they learned to fly after a lot of practicing. So important events I have here are birds grow and learn to fly, and then Lewis rides fast. So let's think about the key details that go with that one. So we know that the key details are that the babies flapped their wings and Lewis was encouraging them the whole time. The babies finally learned to fly, and then Lewis was able to ride his bike fast, and he beat his record, didn't he, Rufus?
Oh, yeah.
He sure did. So boys and girls, understanding key details and events in a story can help you to remember the story and to be able to retell it better. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I think that's all we have for today, okay? Right, Rufus?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thanks for joining me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, thanks.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Kelly and I am from Center for Inquiry School 70 and I teach first grade. This is my friend Rufus.
Hi everybody.
And we're here to go over your home learning packet 2.0, and we're going to read from the reading section 2, lesson 2, the second story called Animal Rescue. And we're going to read this story, and Rufus and I are here to talk about how to retell a story focusing on important events and then key details. So we're going to go over this first, Rufus. Remember, we've talked about this, using your hand as a way to help you to retell a story?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you always have your hand with you. So you can think of your thumb as the characters, who is in the story. Your first finger can be the setting, when and where is the story happening. And then you have the beginning, middle, and end. So today we're going to focus mostly on that beginning, middle, middle, and end, talking about the important events and the key details. So this side of the poster just kind of talks a little bit more in depth about describing events. An event is something that happens in the story. And then each event has key details or things that really describe it or that tell more about the event. When you're retelling a story, you start at the beginning, and when you say it, you might use words like first, and then you're going to say the important event that happened and then the key details that follow. Then when you move to the middle of the story, you might use words like next or then or after that, and you would talk about the important event. That's usually where the problem of the story is told, and then you can talk about different key details that describe that event. And then finally you talk about the end of the story. You might use words like finally or last. That's usually when the solution happens to a story, and then you describe that event and those key details. Okay, you ready, Rufus?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so today we're going to read a story called Animal Rescue, and it starts on page 71 of your reading packet. So Animal Rescue is about, it looks like, I noticed on the cover, a little girl and a boy. You see their book, do you see what it's about, Rufus?
Animals.
Animals, that's right. So their book is about animals. So we're going to read this about Animal Rescue. Sounds exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here we go. It was a boring night. Then I heard a beep beep from my walkie-talkie. My best friend Finn came in. Come in, Abby, give me the signal. I raced to the window. With my flashlight, I clicked on, off, on, off. Finn flashed back twice from across the street. I'm here, I said in my walkie-talkie. Hurry, Finn said. Animals need us. Meet me outside. Finn and I loved animals. We created an animal rescue club. This was our first case. I ran outside. Wow, how exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, animal rescue sounds fun. Finn beeped me again. Abby, there's a possum here. Look. He shined his flashlight. I looked closely. I saw many eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of glowing eyes. Finn, it's a mama. She has 3 babies on her back, I whispered. The babies hugged their mama tightly as they bounced along. The possum started to cross the street. Oh no. Finn and I watched. Suddenly the nighttime street got brighter and louder. What do you think's gonna happen, Rufus?
A car's gonna come.
Oh my goodness, let's see. Finn, there's a car coming. You were right. I grabbed my flashlight. We had a plan for this. Finn called, ready for our first rescue? Oh my, I'm sure they're super excited and kind of nervous probably.
Oh, yeah.
We shined our flashlight up and down the street. Then we used them to make a big, bright X in the dark. Our X was right over the possums. The car stopped. Finn and I watched the possums walk safely across the street. Hooray for the Animal Rescue Club, I said. And that's the end. What did you think?
I liked it.
I did too. Well, now again, we're going to talk about the important events and those key details. So Rufus, do you remember what happened at the beginning of the story?
Abby was bored until Finn contacted her on the walkie-talkie.
That's right. So I have here on our chart the important events that happened at the beginning. Abby was bored. It happens. We all get bored.
Oh, yeah.
But Finn from across the street contacted her on their walkie-talkie. And so let's think about those those key details that go along with that. So Finn beeped Abby's walkie-talkie, right? Remember that part?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Abby kind of did the flashlight signal to let Finn know that she was there.
Yep.
And then Finn said that animals needed their help. They had an animal rescue club. Abby was excited because it was their first case. So exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so do you remember what happened in the middle of the story? This is kind of where the problem might start to happen. Do you remember what that was, Rufus?
The opossum mom was crossing the street with her babies.
Oh, she sure was. Here is what I have for that. The possum mommy is crossing the street with her babies. That's exactly what I had. And then what was the problem? What was going to happen?
Car was coming.
A car was coming, and that could be pretty dangerous for that possum and her baby. So let's look at those key details that go along with it. So here I have Abby and Finn spotted four sets of eyes. They noticed a car was coming, but they had a plan. So it was really good that they were prepared and had a plan, right, Rufus?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, for sure. Now, do you remember what happened at the end of the story? Remember, that's usually when the problem gets solved or they kind of wrap things up. So how did the story end? Do you remember?
They helped a mother opossum save her babies.
They sure did, and Abby and Finn used their flashlights and their tools in such a cool way. So I have here, Abby and Finn helped the possum family cross the street. So I think the way they used their flashlight tool was definitely an important key detail. So let's look at those key details. Do you remember any of those, Rufus, before I say what I wrote?
The car saw the possum?
The car did see the possum, and that's because they shined their flashlights in the road. They made that X with their lights, and then the car stopped. And then that helped the animals cross the street safely, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what a great ending to the story. So boys and girls, when you're retelling a story, don't forget, when you understand the events and you can name the important events in those key details, that will help you to understand the story better, make better connections, and then retell it to someone in the best way possible. All right, boys and girls, I think that's all for Mrs. Kelly and Rufus today, so enjoy your stories. Thank you for working so hard on your home learning. We miss you so much. See you later.
Bye.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Kelly along with my friend Rufus.
Hi, everybody.
And we're here to read a story to you. I'm going to read the story called Where Are You From? The author is Yamil Saeed Mendez, and the illustrator is Jamie Kim. Okay, Rufus, so we're going to read this, Where Are You From? You know what I noticed first on the cover of, looks like probably a grandpa and his little grandchild in a beautiful scenery taking a walk. You like to take walks?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure. All right, here we go. Where are you from? Where are you from? They ask. Is your mom from here? Is your dad from there? They ask. I'm from here, from today, same as everyone else, I say. No, where are you really from? They insist. I ask Abuelo because he knows everything. And like me, he looks like he doesn't belong. Oh, Rufus, have you ever felt like you don't belong?
Oh, yeah.
I know, sometimes we feel that way. Where am I from? Abuelo thinks. His eyes squint. He's looking inside his heart for an answer. You come from the Pampas, the open, free land, he says. Look at that beautiful picture. Look at it, Rufus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. You're from the Gaucho, brave and strong. From the brown river that cleanses and feeds the land, that gives us grain for our bread and milk for our cows. You're from the mountains so high they tickle Señor Cielo's belly, where the condor roosts his family and the jaguar prowls at night. Ooh, those are exciting animals.
Oh, yeah.
But you're also from the warm blue oceans the copper warriors tried to tame, and the elegant palm trees stretch their fingers to caress. Beautiful ocean. See? You're from hurricanes and dark storms, and a tiny singing frog that calls the island people home when the sun goes to sleep. Ooh, kind of scary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, storms. From this land where our ancestors built a home for all, even when they were in chains because of the color of their skin. You're from the grandmothers who search for their grandchildren, waiting, always waiting, in a plaza, their white handkerchiefs wrapping around the sorrow of their thoughts. You come from the sunshine that lights our path in this world and the rain that washes away our mistakes. But Abuelo, I ask, where am I really from? Abuelo laughs. You want a place? So she still hasn't quite gotten her question answered the way she would like. Let's see what Abuelo says. He points to his heart. You're from here, from my love and the love of all of those before us. Oh, I love it. From those who dreamed of you because of a song under the Southern Cross, or the words in a book written under the light of the North Star. You are from all of us. And look, this looks like her with all of her friends and family around. I am. What a beautiful book, right, Rufus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of lets us all know that you know, we might be from different places, we might look different, but really we all come from love. And I think that once we wrap ourselves in love and love those around us, it's good for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining me, Rufus. I really appreciate you being here. All right, thanks, boys and girls. We'll see you later.
You're watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. Here's what's coming up this hour. Get more information, special announcements, and weekly program schedules online at wishtv.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook. Here's what's coming up next.
All right, welcome back. I am Miss Howenstein, and today I'm going to be doing a second grade lesson on, it's in your packet, so go ahead and get your packets out, and you're going to turn to pages 35 through 37, so just go to page 35, and it's section 2, lesson number 2. And you're going to find the page that looks like this if your pages aren't labeled. So it says earwigs at the top. Okay, so we are going to read a story today and identify our key point and 2 reasons. Okay, so that is what we are going to do today. And you should be able to do that by the end of this lesson. So we want to go back and look at this chart that we had done in lesson 1 and just reference it. So authors give reasons to support their point. So this is about insects, what we did in lesson number 1. Today we're going to be doing about earwigs. We're going to be learning about earwigs. So if we read this story, this passage about earwigs, we are going to have a point that we make. The author is trying to make a point. The author has a point in here that we have to find, and then we have to support it with 2 reasons. So we're supporting it, we're backing it up, okay? And then remember, if you need help with what a key point is or what reasons are, it is down here. But we are going to go ahead and read. So you may follow along with me. I want you to notice that there is a little box at the bottom, and it's going to help us out. It says close reader habits. Draw a star by the sentence that tells the key point of the article. So when we find a key point, we're going to draw a star. Okay, you can draw the star. And then when you reread, so we're going to read it once, and then when we reread, underline reasons that support the key point. This is going to help you when you do this by yourself on the back, but we're going to do the reading together, find the key point and the 2 reasons, okay? So I want you to go ahead and start at the title. We always want to start with our title, and it is called Earwigs by Jane Kinzer. Look at the picture on the page. This is a bug, okay? We can assume it's a bug or something, and it is going to be a nonfiction passage. So let's go ahead and read together. Many people do not like earwigs. These small brown insects scurry up walls, and they have big pincers. But earwigs aren't as bad as you might think. Have we found a key point yet? Have we seen anything in the text that says, oh, this is the topic, our key point, important idea about our topic? So we know our topic is earwigs. We have to see, is there an important idea that we're going to be able to back up? Well, if you look in paragraph 1, I see where it says, but earwigs aren't as bad as you might think. Because they're an insect, some people might think that they're bad, but in here our author is saying they're not as bad as we might think. So we can identify that as our key point. So what I'm going to do is put a star by this sentence. I'm actually going to put one, I'll show you in just a minute. I'm going to put one right in front of but at the end of the sentence after the period, just so we know we want the whole sentence when we write it down. Okay, let's keep reading and look for reasons. If you find a reason, underline it. I'm going to do the same. Believe it or not, earwigs make very good mothers. Many insects lay their eggs and then leave. Not earwigs. The mother stays with her eggs, cleaning them and keeping them safe. She even helps the babies hatch out of their eggs. Once they have hatched, she helps them eat. She also keeps them out of danger. So we just read in paragraph 2 a really, really good reason that there's many reasons in here that why earwigs are not as bad as they think. They support our key point. So one of the reasons that I think that you might think as well are that earwigs make very good mothers. With our reasons, we can have a couple sentences as our reasons. So we are going to do that. For our first reason, we are going to have a couple sentences because earwigs make very good mothers. We want to know a little bit more. Why do they make good mothers? Okay? So let's go ahead and say, oh, the mother stays with her eggs. Maybe like someone in your life, they stay with you and they protect you. Okay? So the earwig mom, she is going to stay with her eggs, clean them, and keep them safe. Okay, so we're going to put the mother, we're going to underline the mother stays with her eggs, cleaning them and keeping them safe. So I did this. These two underlines are going to be for reason number 1. So over here on the side by paragraph 2, I'm just going to write reason number 1. Okay, so when you flip it over to copy this on the back, you see reason, and this is reason number 1. You're going to write all of that underlined onto the box. Now, I want to take a look and use a different color. So if you have a crayon or something, get that out, and you can use a different color. I'm going to use a marker, and we are going to see what this paragraph says, okay? We are going to read paragraph 3. Let's go ahead and read this together. Earwigs are also not as scary as they look. Sure, they have wings and big pincers, but they do not use their wings often. So wings help things fly. They don't use those often, but they do have them if they need them. And earwigs don't like to use their pincers on humans. Okay, so they have pincers, but they don't want to use them on us as humans. That's interesting. They use them mostly to catch prey. Prey, what they want to eat, okay? even when they do pinch people, they are just keeping themselves safe. So they're protecting themselves. So when they pinch a person, they're not meaning to, they're afraid, and so they're keeping themselves safe. The pinchers don't cause any harm. The next time you see an earwig, remember, it's more than just a creepy bug. Because you look at bugs and you're like, these are creepy, you don't know anything about them, but look, we just read about earwigs and how they are helpful and they aren't scary, they aren't as bad as you might think. So our next reason is we can look and see that they don't, let's look in paragraph 3. So, well, if our key point is earwigs aren't as bad as you might think, we could use a reason in paragraph 3 and underline where it says earwigs don't like to use their pinchers on humans. Because sometimes people might think that those are scary, but if we look, earwigs, they don't even want to use it on us. So they're actually super nice. So we're going to write reason number 2 right here, so we remember, okay, the second box, we're going to put it in. Now I want to turn it over, and I know yours will look the same way, so it might be hard to flip back and forth. So you may want to write this down on a, like copy these before you turn over to the back, and then you can see, so you can see what you're going to write. If not, you'll just flip back and forth like I'm going to probably do. So let's look where it says up here, explore. How does the author show that earwigs are not as bad as they might seem? Okay, we said that was our key point. Think, read the key point. Oh, it's already written for us, so that's one thing that you don't have to write. Then write the reasons the author uses to back up the key point, that earwigs are not as bad as they might seem. So we read, key point, earwigs are not as bad as they seem. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn back over and see where it says reason number 1. You are going to copy it on to here. So I'm going to write number 1, and then you are going to want to write it in here. I'll start it for you, but I want you to do it at home by yourself since you have this in front of you. So reason number 1, what did we underline? Earwigs make very good mothers. Okay, so we can write earwigs make very good mothers. Awesome. Okay, so, and then you also need to write the other sentence we did because we talk more about what they do that makes them helpful. Okay, so you want to write that here. Then you are going to write reason number 2 from paragraph 3 on this box, in this box. And then you will be complete with that. So go ahead and do that at home. And I want you to really, if you find more reasons, you can add another box for reasons or draw a line and add another reason. That's awesome. If you want to do more, go right ahead and do that. Now that you wrote down your reasons at home, I gave you some time, you can do this. Now we're going to go to look at the bottom and see the number 3. It says short response. So that actually is going to be on your next page, page 37. So go ahead and turn to the page that looks like this. So it says, write, use the space below to write your answer to the question on page, so this was on this page 36. So our short response says, why don't people have to worry about the earwigs pinchers? Use reasons from the text in your answer. So you need to use your reasons that you wrote down, but we see a hint box. And I'm going to circle this for you so you can circle it at home to remember to use this. It says hint. Reread paragraph 3. What reasons can you use? So what I'm going to do, and I don't know in your packets if you can do this, but I am going to turn back over on this page where it says earwig, so we can look side by side to see our reading and our writing. Okay, so reread paragraph 3. What reasons can we use to support why people don't have to worry about the earwig's pinchers? Okay, well, let's look in paragraph 3. So find the 3, circle the 3, just so we can remember what we're looking for. Earwigs are also, let's read this. We're going to reread and then think about it in our brains. Earwigs are also not as scary as they look. Sure, they have wings and big pinchers, but they do not use their wings often. So that doesn't tell us why we don't have to worry, so we don't have to write any of that. And earwigs don't like to use their pinchers on humans. Oh, so they just told us they don't like to use it on humans, and so we don't have to worry about them getting us, right? But let's read the next so that we can find our reasons. They use them mostly to catch prey. Okay, that's a reason, right? They use them mostly to catch prey, what they're going to eat. So we could write in here, we want to write a complete thought, a complete sentence. So we are going to write, we don't have to worry because it said they don't like to use their pinchers on humans. Okay, so we don't have to worry because they don't want to use their pinchers on humans. Okay, I know that's a long sentence, but we want to make sure that we support what it's saying. So we don't have to worry because they don't want to get us as humans. Now, we found that one, and we actually underlined that for one of our reasons for the page 36. But we need to find maybe another reason or even two why we don't have to worry. Well, we can underline, they use them mostly to catch prey. So they want to catch their food. Okay? And it says even when they do pinch people, they are just keeping themselves safe. So we could even underline that as well. What I want you to do is I want you to do this by yourself. I want you to copy our first one. I'm going to circle this so we know it's different. That is one sentence you're going to copy. And then the next underline sentence you're going to copy onto your writing prompt. Now, you are going to do this by yourself, and if you find something else, write it down. It is our writing prompt, and we just want complete sentences. Make sure you have punctuation at the end, and don't forget to check your writing. Thank you so much for following along and learning more about our key point and reasons that support our key point. Thank you so much for coming, and I will see you soon.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi, my name is Miss Howenstein, and I am going to be teaching in your packet, so go ahead and get those ready, get them out. Grab a pencil or whatever you have at home, and we are going to be looking at section 2, so lessons number 4 and 5, which is pages 41 through 43, and I forgot to write that. That's okay. So 41 to 43, so you know. Now, if your pages, because I don't know if they're labeled or not, but it's going to look like this. It's going to say soldier bees. We're going to learn about some soldier bees today. Okay, we want to go back to lessons 1 and 2 and remember that we are talking about a key point, which is an important idea about a topic. So today our topic is soldier bees. And there's going to be a key point that the author makes. And then we want to have reasons and find some reasons to support that, to support our key point. So reasons, really, they explain more about the key point. So they just give us more information about the key point. So if you're ready to go, you will be on page 41. And we want to look at where it says close reader habits. At the bottom says close reader habits. What is the key point in paragraph 1 and paragraph 2? Underline the key point in each paragraph. So we are going to find a key point in paragraph 1, and we're going to find the key point in paragraph 2. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are looking for those key points and that we underline them. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and read paragraph 1 together. We could learn a lot about working together from honeybees. There are 3 types of bees in a hive. They all do different jobs to help make their hive a home. The queen bee lays eggs. Drones are the fathers. That's something new that I learned. And worker bees do everything else. So worker bees are doing everything else. They clean the hive, feed the young, so feed the babies, and find nectar. Okay? In South America, some honeybees have added a new kind of worker. So they have added something new to the hive, the soldier bee. Okay, let's go ahead and break down paragraph 1 and see what can we find as our key point. So I'm going to hang it up here so that we can see what we are going to be looking at. So we see that we have we have a queen bee, we have worker bees, we have drone, who's the father, and then we have seen now a soldier bee. But if we think of all that and what it's talking about, if we read in here that what are they doing? Well, they all have a certain role, a job. So sometimes, like in your classroom, when you were at school, you had a job. You were maybe handing out papers. You were sharpening the pencils. You were doing things like that. Well, bees have a job too, okay? So we are going to underline the key point, which is they all do different jobs to help make their hive a home. That is our key point. So we want to underline it in paragraph 1 so that we remember that they're all doing different jobs to make their hive a home. Let's go ahead and read paragraph 2, okay? Soldier bees stay at the opening of the hive to protect it from robber bees. Robber bees like to steal the honey from other hives. Think the word robber. We know that that is someone or something that likes to steal, right? Okay, well it says robber bees like to steal the honey from other hives. In most hives, the worker bees stand guard for only 1 or 2 days. Then they fly off to do other jobs. So the worker bees who we were first talked about, they only stay there for a couple days and then they say, well, I'm going to fly away and I'm going to go and do another job. But soldier bees are different. They spend their whole lives defending the hive from other insects. We don't want any insects to get in, so they are going to stay there and they're going to protect the hive forever until they die. They are very good at keeping the other bees safe. The soldier bees are some of nature's tiny heroes. Neat. So we just learned about soldier bees. So we are going to go ahead and look and see what our key point could be. So let's look at that, and then that will help us. So in paragraph 2, we have to underline the key point. Well, it talks a lot about soldier bees. We want to find something that has a lot of reasons to support it. So we could underline where it says soldier bees are different. Then we can back it up by supporting with reasons. So reasons would be that they spend their whole lives defending the hive and they are keeping other bees safe. That's different. So that helps us to see soldier bees are different. So that would be our key point. All right, so now that we've read this, we're going to turn it over to page 42, and I'm going to just switch my clip so we can put it back up here and you can all see it. So it says think. What key point does the author make about honeybees in paragraph 1? I want you to think, and I want you to turn your page over, and I want you to see what it says. Well, you underlined it. Exactly, thank you for reminding me. You underlined it. So it says, they all do different jobs to help make their hive a home. Well, let's look at our answer choices. Do any of these say that? Answer choice A, all the bees work to make their hive a home. Yeah, that does, but let's keep reading because we might have more words in there. The 3 types of bees are queen, drone, and worker. Well, did we have that as our no, we didn't have that as our key point. So we're just going to we really can just put an X so we know we're not going to circle that one. C, robber bees like to steal honey from other bees. Well, we were talking about paragraph 1, and did that say was that our key point? No, it wasn't. Soldier bees are a special kind of worker bee. Okay, we talked about in the reading, but we didn't see it in paragraph 1, and that wasn't our key point. So now you know which one to circle. So you're going to circle A because that's our key point. All the bees work to make their hive a home. Now, we have to have a reason. What reason does the author give to explain the key point she makes about honeybees in paragraph 1? So again, what reason does the author give to explain the key point, which is all the bees work to make their hive a home? So what one should we look for? Robber bees like to steal honey from hives. Did we talk about robber bees in paragraph 1? I'm looking. I see robber bees down here in paragraph 2. Well, we're only talking about paragraph 1, so we can cross that out. We can eliminate it. Use what you know to get rid of answers that don't make sense. Let's look at C. Some bees have added a new kind of worker. Okay, we see that our key point is all the bees work to make their hive a home. Well, does that really make sense to go with some bees have added a new kind of worker? Let's see if it's a reason in there. It does say that, right? But that doesn't really support our key point that they're working to make their hive a home. So we're going to cross that out. Now let's see. D is soldier bees are different from worker bees. Well, okay, soldier bees are different, right? But that doesn't talk about their home. It doesn't talk about their home. So I don't think that's one. So what is our last one? B. Each type of bee in a hive does a different job. We do know that when they're in the home, they all have a role. They all are able to do a different job. Just like you might do in your house. You might clean your room. You might be the one that does the dishes or takes the trash outside, okay? So we are going to circle that one because it supports our key point. Great. Let's go ahead and look at where it says 4. This is going to be your next, so we're going to look at our next page, which is page 43. And we see 43 says, in the 4, so we find the 4 on page 43. So let's go ahead and And look at this, short response. So you're going to do a writing. That's fun. Write about how soldier bees are different from worker bees. How are they different from worker bees? Well, think. It says hint. Use reasons that you just talked about in your answer. Okay, so use reasons that you just talked about when we were looking at this right here. Okay, so we find in paragraph 2. So you're really going to look at paragraph 2, and you're going to find how soldier bees are different than worker bees. So paragraph 2. How are they different than worker bees? I'm going to help you with one sentence, and that's it. And then you are going to finish. So let's see. We see that soldier bees are different from worker bees because their only job, soldier bees' only job, is to protect the hive. The worker bees do other things, but the soldier bees' only job is to protect the hive. So we're going to write that. The soldier bee's only job is to protect the hive. Now, we need to make sure that that's in we need to make sure that it's in here in our reading. I forgot to check first, but I think it is, so let's make sure. We need to have it from our reading. So, does it say the soldier bee's only job is to protect the hive? Oh, it says they spend their whole lives defending the hive from other insects. And that means defending, protecting, fighting off things, okay? So we did find that in our reading. Now I want you to go back and write about 3 to 4 more sentences, probably about 3, and you're going to tell us how soldier bees are different than worker bees. Before we go, that you check your writing because it has a checklist that will help you in your writing. Awesome. Thank you so much for following along today and learning more about soldier bees and what they do and how they are different from worker bees. And I hope you have fun learning about this and maybe you'll even see one outside. Thank you so much and I hope you're staying safe, healthy, and enjoy the rest of your day.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, I am Mrs. Lemaster, and today we are going to be doing our 3rd grade reading lesson. As you can see back here on the board, we're going to be doing lesson 4, pages 15, 16, and 17. Today we're going to be talking about sequencing, and we'll be referring to this anchor chart to talk about ways we can look for sequencing in our reading passages. In lesson number 3, you had already started reading Adventures of a Growing Nation. You also completed an anchor chart and it looks a lot like this. That is page 16. I'm going to give you just a minute to find page 16. We're going to use that today for our lesson. So we're going to give you just a minute to locate that. That was from lesson 3. Now I'm going to be reading page 15. I would like for you to read along with me. I've got some things highlighted. I think you probably highlighted those in lesson 3 as well. We're going to read over this and then we're going to look at the Lewis and Clark exploration on page 16. So if you're ready, we're going to read Adventures of the Growing Nation. And I love that these paragraphs are numbered for us. It makes us really easy to go back and find text evidence for our answers and to use this for our reading prompt. Imagine that in one day our country doubled in size. That's what happened to the United States in 1803. President Thomas Jefferson asked France to sell the United States a vast area of land. Overnight, America added more than 828,000 square miles of land west of the Mississippi River. This is known as a Louisiana Purchase. Now I want you to make sure you're reading along with me. We are now going to paragraph 2. Jefferson wanted to know the fastest way across the new land. At the time, there were no maps of the whole country. Jefferson asked Meriwether Lewis to explore the area. Lewis was an army captain whom Jefferson trusted. Lewis chose another soldier, William Clark, to help him lead the party. We are now on paragraph 3. To get ready, they first had a large boat built. The boat took the men down the Ohio River. Then they built a base camp near St. Louis, Missouri. They spent the winter of 1803 there. Finally, on May 14, 1804, Lewis and Clark began their famous trip into the new territory. 50 men went with them. Paragraph 4 is where we are now. They traveled for over 18 months. Finally, the group made it to the Pacific Ocean. On November 7, 1805, Clark wrote, "Ocean in view, oh, the joy." The group spent a long, cold winter near the ocean. Then they began the trip back home in March. We are now on the final paragraph. Lewis and Clark arrived in St. Louis in September 1806. They were greeted with a big party. A century later, in 1904, the World's Fair was held in St. Louis. People honored Lewis and Clark's journey at the fair. Okay, now you've read that text a couple of times, so it should have sounded familiar to you. You probably had some of this information highlighted. Now I would like for you to get out page 16, and we are going to go over what you wrote. Now what I tell you might be a little different, might be worded a little bit differently, but we went back within the text and found text evidence. And what we are going to do, the reason we're going over this, we are going to complete page 17. So if you'll lay that beside your anchor chart, let's read what it's asking. This is page 17. It says, use the space below to write your answer to the question on page 41. We're going to ignore the page number, and we're going to look right here at short response. What are the important events in the journey of Lewis and Clark? Include details from paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. So if you have your highlighter, I would like for you to highlight where it says include details from paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. That is a big clue that what we are going to be writing about is mostly going to be in paragraph 3, 4, and 5. Now let's go back to our anchor chart. And it says Lewis and Clark's exploration. Now, when we look back at the question and what they're asking us, the first sentence is, what are the important events in the journey of Lewis and Clark? It's not asking a lot about the president, it's asking about their journey. So we're going to go back through here. We've done most of the work for this. We're just going to be reprinting it. So let's look. First, President Johnson asked Meriwether to explore the new land. Now we know that, but that's not one of the important events we're going to be writing because it wants to know what happens with them. So we know the president asked him, but now we're focusing on Lewis and Clark. In the winter of 1803, if we refer back to our text, we're going to be using 3 documents. You have them all, you've read them, and you've worked on them. The only new one is page 17. If you look back in your text, and it told us to look, mainly in pages or paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. If you look in 3, it talks about they built a boat in the winter of 1803. And what I wrote was they sailed down the Ohio River, then they built a base camp. That's going to be the beginning of what we write here. So you're going to know that that is your beginning. Now next, it says, Lewis and Clark began their famous trip into new territory with 50 men. That is going to be the next thing that you're going to write. You're going to write, they began with 50 men. So now we have winter covered all the way down to May of 1804. Now, if you look on our chart, the next thing it says is November 1805. If we look at text evidence, we're going to see in November of 1805, they made it to the Pacific Ocean. And that's when he said ocean, and he was so excited about that. The next thing that we write in our exploration right here, the most important events, are that they arrived in St. Louis. They've been on this really long journey, and now they've arrived in St. Louis. And we know that when they got there, there was a big party for them. That probably made them feel really special, and that was a really important part of their journey. So what you're going to do now is write a short response. Now we know when we write a short response, we find the evidence within our text. You're going to find your text evidence. Now I'm not going to write the whole thing with you. This is going to be your homework for today. But what you have right here is your framework to write this. Okay, this is your framework to write this. So the first thing we're going to do is write the first thing that happened. Now the first thing that happened was President Johnson asked Meriwether Lewis to explore the land. That's your very first sentence. That's your very first sentence. I'm going to give you a minute to write that. And that comes from the very first paragraph in here. If you look on your text, the second sentence is President Thomas Jefferson asked France to sell the United States. That's the very first thing that happened, but that doesn't have anything to do with Meriwether, does it? So we're going to skip down, and that is exactly why it says to use paragraph 3, 4, and 5. So we need to start it with the very beginning of the story, but most of it's going to be about what they did as they were traveling. Okay? So the first thing you're going to write is that the president asked them to explore the land. So I'm going to give you a minute to write that on your text. Remember, start with capitals, use your punctuation. We would expect you to have this spelled correctly because we have our text right here. So you're going to write, President Johnson asked Meriwether Lewis to explore the land. Now, I'm not going to take time for you to write all of that now because you have your chart to refer back to. So if you get it started, then you can go back in a few minutes and finish it up. Now the next thing that happened, we're going right down our chart. What I wrote is in the winter of 1803, they built a large boat and sailed down the Ohio River. We have this in our text and we have it in our chart. And this is the reason that we use our anchor charts, because this really helps us to go back and find the evidence in our text. It's a graphic organizer that can really help us when we start writing. If you're not sure about spelling and you're not sure you spelled it correctly here, go back to your text. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to go down this anchor chart, this graphic organizer, and you're going to fill in the events. Make sure you're using complete sentences. Make sure to go back and reread after every sentence. Make sure it makes sense. Sometimes we start writing and we forget to go back and check, and then when we read it, it doesn't make sense. So make sure you go back and check. Now I'm going to quickly read to you what I wrote, about half of it, and you can finish the rest. President Johnson asked Meriwether Lewis to explore the land. In the winter of 1803, they built a large boat and sailed down the Ohio River. Then they built a base camp near St. Louis, Missouri. In May 1804, Lewis and Clark took 50 men with them and sailed into the new territory. Now, as you can see, I didn't write every word that they put in here. I did it a little more concisely, but I'm answering the question completely. I know that I'm using text evidence because I have my graphic organizer here, and I've already checked the text evidence in that. So this is what I want you to finish today. I want you to go back and reread after each sentence. Make sure it makes sense. Check your spelling because it says it's a short response. We know that when we do a short response, we're checking for text evidence. We're also using our sequencing. First, next, then, finally. That would be a great way to start your sentences as you go down. Some clue words that we can use. First, next, then, finally would be your last paragraph. Before, after, later, at last. And then these are some larger words you might want to use if you want to sound really fancy. Afterward, eventually, meanwhile, or the next day. So your homework for today is to finish this. Make sure you go back and reread, maybe have your parents read it with you, and have a great day. We love you lots. Talk to you soon.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Lemaster, and today we're going to be working on reading Lesson 5, pages 18 and 19. This is what they look like. I'm going to give you just a minute to find those in your packet. I hope you guys are having a great day and joining your home learning. Okay, this is William Becknell and the Santa Fe Trail. Today we're going to be working on sequencing first, next, then, and last. And also, we need to talk about when we're reading passages with questions, these are the steps that we go through to make sure we're finding text evidence while we answer those questions. Now, the nice thing about these passages is they are numbered for you, so we always know where we're at. We don't have to do that work. So we have got paragraphs 1 through 5. I would like it if you have a highlighter and you can go through and highlight some things with me. The first thing that we always do, if you look at our chart, reading passages with questions, the first thing that we always do is read the questions first. And the reason we do that is we know our purpose for reading. The next thing we do is read the text, which is our passage. Then we reread our questions, and we answer our questions using text evidence, which means we are always going to refer back to our text and find text evidence. And then the last thing we always do is check our answer. I know this looks like a lot of steps, but if we do this every time, we're going to make sure we have the right understanding of our text and we have the correct answer. Now, I'm going to be reading this with you today, so if you would start up here, we are again on page 18. William Becknell and the Santa Fe Trail by Joy Adams. First paragraph, William Becknell was a trader and trapper. He was born in Virginia in the late 1700s. As a young man, Becknell moved to Missouri in 1810. Second paragraph, in Missouri, Becknell traded salt. His business wasn't very successful, so in the summer of 1821, he planned a trip west. Traveling on horseback, Becknell and his group hoped to trade horses and mules and trap animals. So this was before we had all the businesses now, and this is how he made his business. This is how he made a living. We're on paragraph 3. When the party started their trip, Spain opened New Mexico. The Spanish didn't allow traders from the United States to sell their goods there. As the party made its way, however, the Spanish lost control of New Mexico. Becknell heard this news and changed his plans. He headed straight to Santa Fe. There, they traded their goods for silver dollars. So he traded whatever he had, and in return, he got dollars. About a year later, in May 1822, Becknell and his wagons left Missouri once again. This time, Becknell followed a dangerous route. Some people might say route. That's R-O-U-T-E. We don't see that word often, but it's pronounced route or route. First, and this is one of our words over here, first he followed the Arkansas River to what is today Dodge City, Kansas. Then he followed the Arkansas River, Then he traveled southwest to Cimarron River. The party ran out of water and almost died, but Becknell pushed them onto the river, and then finally they reached Santa Fe. They had blazed a new trail. Becknell's route became known as the Santa Fe Trail. In 1852, it was marked as the main route to the southwest. This route was important to the growth of the United States. So we're talking about times when we didn't have all of the states and all of the roads and all of those things, and so they're getting all of that ready when they first started our country, and they have to blaze trails and make roads for us to be able to travel. There was a lot of information, and in nonfiction, we have to reread it several times. There's a lot of information. Nobody would expect you to remember that the first time, and so that's why we always go back and find text evidence. Now, we talked about this and we didn't do it, but we were going to read our questions first. So let's go back now. We got out of order. We read the text first, and now we're going to read our questions. This question has 2 parts, answer part A and then answer part B. Part A, what important event happened soon after Becknell set off to his trip to the west? Now, if we go back into our text, it says, what important event happened soon after Becknell set off on his trip to the west? I have highlighted, and I would like for you to look in paragraph 3. It says that the Spanish lost control of New Mexico. So let's look and see if that makes sense. Let's look at our choices. Becknell decided to trade horses instead of salt. Now, this is the important event that happened soon after he started. B, traders were told they couldn't go to Santa Fe. C, the Spanish lost their power in New Mexico. Or D, Becknell's group ran out of water and almost died. Now, all of those sound right? But we need to go back and find text evidence. So let's go back into our text. Now, I'm going to look at paragraph 3. I want you to read that with me. When the party started their trip, Spain owned New Mexico. That's the first thing that happened. But then we found out Spanish didn't allow traders from the United States to sell their goods. If you go on to the next sentence, as the party made its way, however, the Spanish lost control of New Mexico. Now, if you look at our choices, let's look at 3, at C. The Spanish lost their power in New Mexico. So did we find text evidence to support that answer? We did, didn't we? We have it highlighted right here. The Spanish lost control of New Mexico. So our answer is going to be C. Now in B, it says, underline the sentence in this paragraph that supports your choice in part A. Let's read this text. When the party started their trip, Spain owned New Mexico. The Spanish didn't allow traders from the United States to sell their goods there. As the party made its way, however, the Spanish lost control of New Mexico. So there is our highlighted part. That is our text evidence, and that's what they're asking us, to underline the sentence that supports your choice. So now we have underlined it, and we have proven our answer, right? So now we are over here. We're reading the questions, and now we're back down here. We're rereading questions. So we'll go back and forth on this chart just to make sure no matter what we do, that we find the text evidence. When we're reading, we need to find our evidence. We're not going to guess. We're going to find text evidence. Now, this says talk. I obviously can't talk to you right now, but you can turn and talk to someone in your house. It can be your puppy. It can be your stuffed animal. It can be mom, dad, grandma, brother and sister, whoever you would like. But I would like for you to turn and talk. I'm going to give you just a minute, and discuss with a partner Becknell's second trip to Santa Fe. Use our sequencing words. These are our sequencing words, all of these words. I want you to use some of these words as you're talking to someone at home. And like I said, if nobody's there, talk to your teddy bear, your dog. I talk to my dog all day long, and she loves it. So just turn and talk about his second trip to Santa Fe. And you're going to be looking for evidence, the last part of our text, paragraphs 4 and 5. I'll give you just a minute. Okay, now I hope you had a nice conversation with someone about his second trip. We know in paragraph 4 it says that he had another trip and it was very dangerous. So I hope that you looked at the places that he went and why it was dangerous. I have numbered them. The first thing he did, if you look over here, it says close reader habits. We do close reads many times where we go back and we look in a paragraph and we talk about some things just in that paragraph. So as we do that with this, I wanted to number where he went. So in number 1, they followed the Arkansas River. Number 2, they traveled south. And number 3, they reached Santa Fe. They had blazed a new trail. So that was his second trip. Okay, that's his second trip. Now we have another short response. This is going to be your homework for today. This is going to be your homework. I'm going to read this with you and maybe get you started. The short response, this is number 3 on page 19. Describe Becknell's second trip to Santa Fe. Why was this an important historical event? I would like for you to highlight that. Important historical event. They use that same wordage in our text. It was very important, so I want you to find out why. Why was it an important historical event? And use the space. You can just use the bottom of this, or you can write it on the back. Now, I just told you some of the answer to that because I told you the path that he took. And if you look in the very last paragraph, it says this route was important to the growth of the United States. And that's why we read these things, to find out how our country grew and who were the important people who helped us to grow. So as you do this short response, you're going to start with our sequencing chart. Remember, we're going to use first, next, then, finally. You can use any of these words down here. If you think of other words, you can use those as well. But remember, when we write in sequence so that it makes sense to our readers. So you're going to describe his second trip, and probably you would start with something like, about a year later, William Becknell went on another trip. And then you're going to describe where he went. And there's not a lot of information. It's basically paragraph 4. So make sure you're using your sequencing words. Make sure you're going back and finding text evidence. And always go back and check. Check your sentences after you're done. Make sure they make sense. Have a great day, friends.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
We are about to read How to Catch a Star. My name is TJ and my co-partner here is Elijah. Elijah, say hi.
Hi.
All right, Elijah. Are you ready to read How to Catch a Star?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Once there was a boy, and the boy loved stars very much. Every night, the boy watched the stars from his window and wished he had one of his very own. He dreamed of how this star would be his friend. They would play hide and go seek and take long walks together.
Where is the boy?
Where's the boy? He's right there.
Yes.
Yeah. The boy decided he would try to catch one. He thought that getting up early in the morning would be best, because then the star would be tired from being up in the sky all night. The next day, he sat out at sunrise, but he could not see a star anywhere. So he sat down and waited for one to appear, son. He waited.
Mom.
And he waited. And he ate lunch. Yeah. And he waited some more. And after dinner, he waited some more. Finally, just before the sun was about to go away, he saw a star, Elijah.
Papa.
Look at the star, man. The boy tried to jump up and grab it, but he could not jump high enough. So very carefully, he climbed up to the top of the tallest tree he could find. But the star was still a way out of his reach. He thought he might lasso the star with the life preserver from his father's boat, son. Look, you see the life preserver?
That's too heavy.
Yeah, it's too heavy.
That's too heavy too.
Yeah, but it was much too heavy for him to carry, man. If only he could fly up in a spaceship and just grab the star. But the only spaceship he owned was made of paper, and it didn't fly well at all. Perhaps he could get a seagull to help him fly up into the sky to reach his star. But the only seagull he could find didn't want to help. You see the seagull, Buddha? You see it?
I can't touch it.
You can't touch it. No, not yet.
Okay.
The boy worried he would never catch a star. Just then he noticed floating in the water. It was the prettiest star he had ever seen. Just a baby star, Elijah.
I heard it fall.
Yeah.
The baby fall.
It must have fallen from the sky. He tried to fish it out with his hands, but when the boy reached out to touch the star, it just rippled through his fingers. You see?
I'm going to draw on it.
He wanted to draw on it? Now the boy was sad, but in his heart the wish just wouldn't give up. Slowly he began walking home. And that's when he saw it. Washed up on the bright golden sand. The boy had caught a star, Elijah. A star of his very own, man. Yeah. The end. That concludes our book today for How to Catch a Star. Thank you, co-host Elijah. Tell everyone bye.
Bye.
You've been watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. MyIPS airs weekday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. For more information, special announcements, and the weekly program schedule, go to wishtv.com. You can also follow us on Facebook.